What is up? What is up? As the name of this suggests, I decided to call it Building $1 Million Business. And the theme of today is cutting people out. And the biggest thing when it comes to that is plane going by, but I think it's really important to cut people out, like of both your business and your life. Hopefully you can hear that with the plane going on. Doesn't matter, things don't have to be perfect in order to do it. So yeah, it's really important to cut people out of your business and life, and I'm not saying to not have any compassion when you do it. You can still have compassion for people, wish them the best, and not have them be a part of your life or a big part of your life. I actually think that it's one of the many things that's allowed me to be successful in some way this far into life. Yeah, because it's not a bad thing to cut people out. It very much is about the standard that you set for yourself, both in business and in life. So I guess the kind of what I'd go into next is the kind of people to cut out. And I honestly think the kind of people that to cut out, like a really obvious one, is people that try to screw you over. You can give people chances in that. In business, I'd say a little less so. But here's the biggest thing. A lot of the time people be like, oh, you know, they were just having a bad time, so they did this and they screwed me over and they were selfish and that kind of thing. But like I've said before, you are just as much who you are at your lowest than when you're at your highest or your best. So if you at your lowest decide to screw someone over, that's still you. That is very much a part of who you are as a person. And I think that tells you a lot about people. Like, people really show you who they are when the chips are down. So if you can find people who, even through the worst of times, will stay with you, that's huge. Like, that's huge. And people who do the right thing, people who prioritize doing the right thing no matter what. Because the right thing is the right thing independent of the situation most of the time, I think. So that's a really big one. Like, if anyone tries to screw you over, and like, for me, that's big because Yana and I are very much about integrity and alignment. And if someone does something that doesn't align with us and is out of integrity, like not an integrity move, then it's very easy to cut people out for that. And I don't think it's something you should be afraid of. So another big one is when you have less value from someone, like they're actually a net negative in your life. Because a lot of the time people can have positive attributes. Like, there can be great things about people, but that doesn't negate negative things that they bring into your life. For me, for example, if people whinge a lot or whine, if people are negative all the time, because most of the time I ground myself in realism and err on the side of optimism, because why not be more positive? Like, you're gonna get more out of situations that way. But there are some people that just love to complain and like always look at the negative side of things, be pessimistic, and for me, I don't want that around me. So you've got people like that as well, people that complain, people that don't put their best foot forward. If they're not really gonna show up for themselves, I can still be friends with them. I wouldn't really cut people like this out, but I don't have to spend a lot of time with them, because the biggest thing there is you are a product of the people you're very much influenced by the people that you spend the most time around. So if you're spending time around a lot of people that are not striving to be their best, if there are 5 people that are doing that are like 5 brokies, you're the 6th brokey more often than not. Because you also can't drag those people up with you as much as you might like to, and just seeing them over and over again, hearing them subconsciously, a lot of that stuff, we like model our behavior around the people that we spend the most time with. So it's like, if you are with people like that so much that are not going in the same direction as you, they're likely to pull you to the side a little bit. So yeah, you can cut people like that out. I have before, especially in business. If someone's not aligned and doing things the way that I would want to be doing it, and like they're not really putting their best foot forward, more often than not I cut them out, because I'm like, I don't need that. That's the quality and the standard that you set for yourself. So in a business, I know this sounds tacky, it sounds cliche from like what people I've heard like very successful people before say, and you know, it's very much like, but it's very much true, especially people that know it have said it, and Yana and I have been through that as well. It is very much like business is the people. First and foremost, I'd say business is people through and through. And people never go out of business. Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky. Wrong way around. But business is very much people. It's relations and people, and your business, the foundation and the standard that you set for it, as well as your life, is very much a direct result of the people that you allow into your business. So if you're keeping people in your business that are dragging you down for the sake of it, your business will get dragged down. Those are just facts. So even with that, you want to have people that are worth having in your business. Not the cheapest, not just the best, but the right people. So that's huge. For example, I have had an assistant before. I'm not naming and shaming anyone. This is what it is. And they had one job, which was to reply to some messages. And you know, over the couple months that we had them, there were times where messages got through and like they just didn't reply, and that was the one job they had. As a result of that, we told them a couple times, and then after 2-3 times that was enough. It was like, you know what, this doesn't work, all the best for you in the future. Had that conversation, but it's like, we're done. I don't need to be chasing someone up just to do the minimum, just to meet the requirements of their job. So when you see that, even though, oh yeah, it's taken a load off of me because I don't have to reply to certain messages and that kind of thing, it's not worth having that in business. I don't think it is. And I think holding that higher standard is harder. And it's like, it's definitely not the easier thing to do in the short term, but in the long term, it pays off, it pays dividends. So that's huge. Because the standard you set for yourself is huge. And that's like, it's almost like setting, well, I think it is essentially, you're setting that foundation for yourself in business. Like if you have $1 million standard, you will develop $1 million business. If you have a $50 standard, you develop a $50 business more often than not. An example with cutting people out as well, I think, here is, I do it often. I cut people out often, as often as I need to, rather, as often as it's right to. Not for the sake of it. You don't be like, oh, I've made 6 friends, now I have to cut out 2 friends, and then you repeat. It's just like, it'll naturally happen over time. It's like you progress, you bring the standard up to a certain, you get things to a certain level, the standard might only be here. And then you can bring things back to the standard, raise the standard, and then build the business from a higher standard or a new foundation. I think that's important. We're doing that right now with some of our business things. Even if you have nothing else to fall back onto, I think that's huge, to set that standard correctly for yourself. And I've done it with friends before. Like if I don't see them as a net positive and I'm hanging out with them a lot. I once had a friend, we were good friends, like really good friends for a while, but was like, hey, I asked her, do you want to come? Or like asked her to come to the park. We had to sit down on a bench and just chatted, and I was basically like, this close friendship is done. I'm very direct with it. You don't have to be. It can be a bit mean. You could argue. I think I wasn't too bad, but I like to be direct and respectful, because there's no need. There's no sense in being needlessly mean for the sake of it. But I was just like, look, this friendship is a net negative. I didn't use those words exactly, but like, I don't really get positives from this friendship. It's not like that. And yeah, in some way she was screwing me over and stuff like that. But you know, had the conversation. It wasn't necessarily a nice conversation, but that's how I like to operate. Have a conversation about it instead of just, because it'd be weird if like it's a good friend that you hang out with all the time and then suddenly you're just avoiding their messages and that. I'd rather have that hard conversation sooner than have it fizzle and be like, oh, what happened later? I'd rather have those conversations. So we're not friends. We actually haven't really spoken since, just bumped into each other a couple times. Like 1-2 messages, but that's it. And things have been much better off since then, and I think it's an important thing to consider, because it's like, who are you allowing to drag you down, and who are you allowing to come along with you for the journey? Because you can't force people to come along with you. They might just not be ready for it, and that's okay. That doesn't detract from the friendship that you would have had there, or the business working relation that you've had. It means it is what it is, and you can leave that behind, and then you can ascend. And I think that's really important, because if you just allow people to stay in your business for the sake of it, and you're not being intentional, you will slow your business down. Your business, it's like having a weak link in the chain. Eventually it'll break at where they're at. So that's just a really important point. I think it's good to have compassion. In business, especially if anyone tries to screw you, even if they're paying you, if it's someone that is like going to be giving you money, like a client or something, if they decide to screw you over in that, then I don't think it's worth convincing them to stay on. I've heard of people doing that, and I believe that people will show you who they are when they're at their worst, just as much as they show you who you are when you're at your best, and everything in between. So I think that's very big for having a high standard, and it's pretty simple. I think it's a very simple topic. So just doing that, and it's hard. It's hard, and it's active, and it's the right thing to do. But if you just keep doing it over and over again, it just becomes who you are. It just becomes the standard that you set, which is really important for business and the likes, because low standards, low income, that kind of thing is how that works more often than not, especially if you're building your own business. So hope that's helped. This one was a cruisy one. Bit of a hard-hitting topic, but it's very simple. Very simple. Cut those people out. Don't be afraid to do it. Just do the right thing, and eventually you'll just keep doing it. Anyway, hope this helps. Catch you soon.